Hey, welcome to the channel. I'm Pete from PMG Auto Care, and today's video is going to be all about wet sanding this very cool Impreza STI. The iconic Subaru Impreza. If you're a car enthusiast, fair to say that one of these has probably been on your want list or you've already owned one. They are a special car with that flat four boxer engine. They make such a distinctive noise, and the rally-derived heritage four-wheel drive means that they are fantastic fun to drive. Now, getting a good one is becoming a harder and harder thing. So increasingly, owners are turning to importing their cars from Japan. It avoids many corrosion issues, and you generally get a good clean car. Well, you can kind of know what you're buying before that with auction sheets, but really, until you've got it, you don't know what you have. This car was a grade 4, so in really good shape, but it's had a previous paint job that the owner's not entirely happy with. So at this stage, it makes sense, rather than respraying the car again, that we can do a full wet sand, transform the texture and finish with the paint, get the little bits of dirt and a few little runs out of the finish, and it's just going to leave it really nice. It means you can use it and enjoy it, and well, have a car that you can be proud of. So before we do that, we need to get it clean first. So a full decom wash is going to mean that the car is free from contamination, and once we start that sanding process, it's not going to be clogging up those discs or the paper, depending on what we're doing. And it may seem like an extreme measure, but hopefully you're going to see through the course of this video that it actually makes a lot of sense. So let's get cracking. Prep stages are all buttoned up, and now it's on to the scary bit, the wet sanding. But the truth is, it's not really all that scary. And if you've never done it before, while it's certainly daunting, it's not the extreme measure that perhaps that you think it is until you see the end results. And I'll explain that it's really not all that different than polishing your paint to begin with. For me to explain that, you need to understand what it is that makes your paint look the way it does, essentially why we do paint correction, why we'd be doing sanding. So the perfect painted surface is a straight line. That's a non-blemished surface. There's no indentations, no scratches, no nothing. And that's going to have the paint looking its most reflective, sharp, crisp finish, and well, no defects ruining the clarity of it either. So whenever you get paint defects like swirl marks, scratches, it's like little tiny indentations all along that surface. Whenever we're doing paint correction with a machine polisher, the theory is no different than what we're going to be doing with these sanding discs. So we use pads and we use polishes when we're machine polishing to give an abrasiveness that allows us to work those defects out by removing a small amount of clear, and the goal being that we go from this surface down to another smooth one at the bottom level of those defects. And you're talking absolutely microscopic levels of clear coat, but that's what we're doing. We're removing it and leveling it out. And the sanding process, well, that's the same. It's just when the car's been painted like this and it's orange peel and dirt and this and that, it would actually be really inefficient and actually more risk laden if we were to go down the route of machine polishing this, because we're putting heat in, we're doing XXX amount of things that, well, could lead to problems in their own right. So machining this car is not the best way to go about it, but sanding it and then machining it definitely is. So we're going to go in with this with 2000 grit paper and 3000 grit paper. The idea being to level out the finishes. Lots and lots of paint measurements going to be taken at all stages throughout this. And well, it's going to be quite a challenge, but the end result is going to be worth it. I'm going to show you guys a little bit of it on video. Truth be told, this is a stage that I really want to concentrate on. There are lots of complicated shapes on a Subaru when it comes to sanding, and I really need to focus on that. But you'll get to see the effect of it, see what we're doing with the sanding paper, and then we'll jump in with that correction. I'm going to do some test spots in this too before I end up sanding the whole car. So we're going to start with the bonnet, try a little bit of that. If the test spots work well, we'll move on and sand the whole car. But I am already excited for how good this car could look. Let's get stuck in and get it looking amazing. This is where we normally pick it back up by saying now it's time to move on to the finishing, polishing stages, that refinement process. The truth is there's actually been about a week in between us finishing the car and then us jumping back to this. And it's a week on purpose, and that is so that we can give the paint time to rest after such intense correction stages. As we said earlier in the video, you can cause swell in the paint and that can drop back, and some of those defects you thought you have removed, a lot of those sanding marks you may have thought you've removed, well, after a few days, if we had have cruised on ahead with the refinement, put the coating on the car, then guess what? Paint would settle back down and then you'll start to see sanding marks and defects again. So whenever we did our first wet sand, few areas in this car to check that we were taking it enough to where we wanted to be, we machined those and then we let those sit for a few days just to get an idea that our process was along the path that we wanted it to. And then, as you'll see from the bonnet shot, we picked up after our initial test pot and moved on with the rest of the car. All in all, I'm really happy with how it went. I like to really spend the time. This is a very, very time consuming process whenever you're doing a wet sand to sand stages in the car, around 4 or 5 hours in their own, and then the correction stages a huge amount of time. The roof in itself had probably the best part of 4 hours, but we save that time now in the finishing stages. So normally you would be going in here and it would be loads of work marks, it'd be a real mess, but all I'm going to be focusing on now is just out and out finish. So let's get stuck into that. Before we do though, the car's incredibly dusty, so we need to blow it all down, get as much of the loose dust off the car as possible, then we can get stuck into that all important refinement stage, and then the car's going to need a rinse before we even dream about putting any protection near it. Let's get cracking. Finally, the end is near. We got the car, all the refining finished last night. We got it out, we got it rinsed, and then blew it down. And I just like to let it drip out overnight. We'll give it another final blow down just to get rid of any dust that might have settled on it overnight. And then finally lay down coatings, and this will see this car buttoned up. It looks incredible. I really don't know if the camera's going to do the finish of this justice. It looks dripping wet in person, and the coating is only going to add to that even more. Other finishing touches to do, all those little niggly bits that I like that just finish a car off nice. But the end is near, it's almost done. I can't wait to see the owner's reaction to this one. But let's get all that protection laid on, and then finally we can show you it finished. At long last, the Subaru is all buttoned up. So there's only one thing left to do, and that's show you guys it finished. Another one buttoned up, and doesn't it look incredible? I am so happy with how that car has turned out. That was a big challenge, and to be honest, that's the sort of stuff I love doing. New cars, things like that, while they certainly have a process to follow to get the best possible results, certainly not as technically challenging as the likes of this type of detailing. And this type of detailing is what I started with doing many years ago, before detailing really became the mainstream thing that it is nowadays. Well, it's great that we still get those challenges in. So if you have a car like that and you want to completely transform it, get in touch with us. It really is our speciality. So I think the owner's going to be delighted with this. I cannot wait to see his face when he comes to pick it up. Say, it's been about 3 weeks from start to finish, doing in round other stuff, letting the car rest, and well, his patience is hopefully paid off with the result that he's been looking for. Once again, thanks for watching. I have no idea what the next video is going to be, but we're going to be working on something soon, no doubt. We also have a new project that's going to be launched onto the channel, a personal vehicle of my own that I've just purchased. I'm looking forward to making a bit of a video series on that as we really go in depth with the detailing on it. But we'll not reveal too much about that now. So thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you in the next one.